Good morning, I'm Asa Stackel, and welcome to the forum. It is the first forum of a new decade. First new one, I should say. Thanks for joining us. It is episode 2001, and no better way to start it than with a friend of the program. We have Dr. Greg Dewey, the president of Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Services, and also Dr. Kamal Rashid, the founding director of ACPHS, Center for Biopharmaceutical Education and Training, CBET. Thank you both for coming in.
Well, thank you. It's great to be the first one of the year.
We're making history right here, Dr. Dewey.
It's an honor.
So that's what we're here to talk about while you're here is CBET. This whole new program and training facility that you're working on. It's a $37.3 million advanced technology facility. Right. What is this place?
So it is an education program to train people for the biopharmaceutical industry. And we can talk more about what biopharmaceutical means, but this is a growing industry. It's a very exciting industry where it is really transforming pharmaceutical industry as a whole, this sector of the industry. And there's a real workforce need there. And so CBET will teach our own students, our bachelor's and master's students, and our PharmD students, give them an entree into the biopharmaceutical industry. But it's also about workforce development. The manufacturing practices are moving so quickly that there is a real need to help companies learn the latest technology and get up to speed. And so it has a very strong workforce development. In fact, that's the main component of this initiative.
Okay, so let's back up a bit. As you said, let's talk about biopharmaceuticals.
Yeah, biopharmaceuticals.
What are they?
Yeah, so the history of the pharmaceutical company is predominantly focused on small molecules. So things like aspirin or Tylenol, those are small molecules that an organic chemist can synthesize in a lab. Biopharmaceuticals are the result of DNA technology, of recombinant DNA technology. So in the late 70s and early 80s, we learned how to clone genes and to have them produce proteins. And, in that period, the first human gene was cloned. Insulin was cloned into a bacteria, and it produced insulin. These are big, complicated molecules. Those are biopharmaceuticals. So it's a different world because you're using genetic engineering to create a much more complicated therapeutic agent than a small molecule, often using something your own body might make. So that's really exciting. It is it's a period of great advance, great innovation in the basic science. I'd say it's kind of akin to that period when we had the telephone invented and the phonograph and the light bulb. It is explosive.
Wow.
The innovations going on. But the thing that's very special now is that not only is the science changing at a rapid rate, but the manufacturing is changing. And at one point, you had large, steel vats that you would brew these things up with, and they're very expensive, very difficult. And now we're going to what they call single-use technologies, where you use plastic liners, or you're doing these continuous flow technologies. We're creating these cells that are much more productive, so you can go to smaller and smaller volumes. So it's very unusual to have the science changing rapidly and the manufacturing changing rapidly, and it is a great perfect storm for academia because you need continual training for these things. Okay, so new science, new technology, new methods, and now you've got this new center, and we have Dr. Rashid here, who'll be the founding director of it. How exciting is this for you?
It's very exciting, It's actually when the idea came up, and I looked at it, I thought this is really a novel idea coming from ACPHS administration, especially Dr. Dewey, been pushing for this because workforce is very important for this new industry. It's relatively new, but the colleges and universities, they graduate students with certain skill sets that it's not really the one that this biomanufacturing industry needs. And so when you hire somebody coming out from college to a place like Regeneron, for example, they will train them in-house, you know, on their standard operating procedures and the way they go about doing things. And so there are certain skill sets that are not taught at colleges and universities, and graduates are lacking those skills. And so the training programs that has been starting in many universities is to help the industry by creating programs that can teach the students those skill sets that are highly desirable in a highly regulated environment like a biopharmaceutical company, which is worked by FDA for every move they make and every single touch they touch. It is all has to be recorded and have documentations about it. So I think the training of our own students, the pharmacy students, while they are taking their own classes, and we have classes started for them to take, getting these skills in regular courses that will be taught at CBET to the students, it's a big plus for these students because it's going to open up a new horizon for them. The pharmacy students now will have a chance to be highly competitive in the biopharmaceutical industry when it comes for job application, because they know the drug development, but they're going to have now the skills that are necessary to be an employee of this biomanufacturing industry. And so that will enhance their capabilities into getting into these kind of jobs, which is growing. Like Dr. Dewey said, the biomanufacturing industry is exponentially growing now, and will be growing for the coming decades. And so there will be a lot of need for well-trained, hands-on, ready employees.
Dr. Dewey, we were talking about this just before we came on, about how there are more pharmacy Ph.D.s in this field. And there are PharmDs who get into this field, but by no help of your curriculum currently.
Right. So when I go, part of my job is to go around and talk to our alumni. And the alumnus are, it's impressive the scope of different jobs. A lot of our alumni are community pharmacists. A lot are in hospital pharmacy. That would be the bulk of them, but there are a significant number in the pharmaceutical industry, and they are in all sectors of the pharmaceutical industry in terms of functional roles. So we see alumni in regulatory affairs, we see them in medical affairs, we see them in manufacturing, we see them in business development. That tells me of the versatility of the basic degree. And so these people have found their way into successful careers in the pharmaceutical industry without any intent on our part. That we haven't built bridges there for them, but this is what we want to do. So there are other bioprocess centers across the country. Kamal Rashid, Dr. Rashid, has been involved in many of them, so we're very fortunate to have him bring him on board for this. But those centers tend to be more associated with engineering schools for the manufacturing. This will be the first center associated with a pharmacy school. And I believe that there is great value added by having a biomanufacturing center in a pharmacy setting. And one of the reasons is because of the great importance of how you formulate a drug, the sensibilities of pharmacists in understanding the importance of formulation. I can have the same drug in two different formulations, whether it's a nasal spray or a pill or an injectable, and depending on how I formulate that drug, the efficacy can be dramatically different. With these complex biopharmaceuticals, that's the very last step in the biomanufacturing process, is the formulation. And if you don't get that right, all the complicated stuff that goes before is for naught. And so that pharmacist knowledge of formulation is we want to take advantage of it. And not to say we're going to disparage the engineering component. There's a serious engineering component that we have to bring in there too. But we're very excited because we feel that this is we're hitting an untapped human resource in all our PharmDs to enter into this field.
So how did the School of Pharmacy, how did you guys get involved in this, and why now?
Well, one of the things, I did, one of the things was my visit to Regeneron. I went over to Regeneron to talk to the folks there, sort of get acquainted visit. And before I went over, I went over to our development office, and I said, don't we have a couple, don't we have 2 or 3 alumni at Regeneron? And says 2 or 3. We have about 25, and so I got the list of them. And when I took that list to the meeting with me, and I showed the folks and the leadership at the facility. I said, this is what we've done without trying, essentially. Yeah. And they were looking through the list, and then, oh, that person's very good, that person's good. And I said, wow, it was almost like a light bulb went on. Maybe we need to create this bridge, this intentional path, because we've already done well
without even trying.
With serendipity.
Yeah.
So why not?
Interesting. Okay. Dr. Rashid, you've been all over the country, all over the world, setting up training programs in biopharmaceuticals. What's different is there anything different about setting up this program?
No, it's similar to other programs that we have set up, but it's a program that's the first, I think, in the state of New York. And in addition to training of our own students, there's an element that Dr. Dewey, referred to it, about helping the growth of biotech industry in the state of New York. And that will be done in our center by providing the workforce that these companies need, especially small companies. So the center will have not only the training function, but we will be trying to do contract research services for small companies that they need to take an idea into commercialization. The first proof of concept stage is very important, and I think the center will be a great factor. One thing that I hear that small companies, especially in the central region, they don't survive that much. It's because they don't have access to labor at the early stage, like the incoming, that they have the knowledge. So the center will be functioning in 2 ways. One is training the workforce for the biomanufacturing industry in the state of New York and the region, and also helping small companies with projects that they have that could be run at our center with our faculty and our scientists.
Wow. How excited is Regeneron and other companies and some of those small companies that you talk about?
Small companies, yes.
About this?
So, yeah, we've had really good feedback, really good interactions. We've created a corporate advisory board of leaders in this area, and recruiting that board was not difficult. There is an enormous workforce need, and so we have folks from Regeneron, from Eli Lilly, from Genentech, all the big biopharmaceutical companies. We have had good interactions with Boehringer Ingelheim in Connecticut. The workforce need is such that people are happy to come in and help us. The other interesting group that we've been able to attract interest from is the people like GE Healthcare and Thermo Fisher. They make scientific instruments and supplies, and they would love to have our center use their instruments to train the next generation, so that when they go out, they're familiar with those technologies, and that's what they use in the field. And so the suppliers and the equipment makers have also shown a very, very strong interest in the center. So that's been that's been an affirmation. We've been placing interns. We have a robust internship program with Regeneron. We're building an internship program with Eli Lilly in Indianapolis, and we've had some really strong interactions with Boehringer Ingelheim in Connecticut. Those corporate interactions, to me, is an affirmation. But one of the things I want to really emphasize is, this is a program for them. This isn't this isn't about a bunch of academics deciding, what a neat subject is and what students, what is intellectually stimulating the students should learn. This is about meeting the needs of industry, and we need their active engagement in that, and that's what we're doing with our advisory council.
And it seems like that's a real focus of your entire school and what you've been doing in recent years.
Yeah, we're very hands-on, experiential, education focused, the whole school.
Okay, Dr. Dewey and Dr. Rashid, thank you both for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
And Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year to you.
First show of the decade.
But yeah, very exciting project you have going. I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it in the coming months and years, probably.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.